Hello, Ross here again, Managing Director of RCT Entertainment and Events, and welcome along to the Wedding Vault, where we answer your questions about booking a wedding DJ. Now, some things which you may need to consider and make sure that your wedding DJ has in place before booking anyone is these things. Now, most importantly is insurance. Pretty much 10 times out of 10, a wedding venue will require public liability insurance. Now, some DJs who maybe just charge not a lot of money for a wedding might not have public liability insurance in place. And I don't know why, because it isn't expensive to buy and it makes peace of mind and it covers us for anything which may hopefully not happen, like trips and slips and things like that. And like our insurance, for instance, it covers us up to £10 million. So please make sure that your wedding DJ has public liability insurance in place and it's valid and in date. And you can see it on their website, or you can ask for a copy from them to send on to your venue. Also, many venues will require PAT testing. Now, PAT testing, if you don't know what that is an electrical safety device test. So all of our equipment, cables, mixers, lighting, speakers, anything like that, all needs to be tested. Now, we do ours in-house here, so we're qualified to PAT test, and we have a PAT tester, and it's done annually. And basically what that involves is things like a visual inspection of a cable. So if it's fraying at the end, it is a fail. Chuck it in the bin or repair it. And then it will also go through a machine and it will test the voltage. And if anything comes up as a fail, it will fail and it will not be able to be used until it's either repaired or replaced. And that is a very key thing to make sure that your DJ has PAT testing in place and has the correct certificates and documentation to send on to your venue. Now, some DJ companies are just one-man band, and that's absolutely fine. And a lot of questions I get asked, because so many people hear the horror stories and are worried, is do you have a DJ as a backup if something was to fail? Now, in my sort of position now, yes, we do have backup DJs in place, and that's because we're a multi-op operation. So we have many DJs who work for us who I've known and I trust for many, many years. And I know if anything was to happen on the day of a wedding day, whether their original DJ, falls ill or something serious has happened and they can't make it, I can make sure that I've got another DJ in place who can take over and make sure that they will do just as good job as their original DJ. But some companies who are just on their own, they might not know many people in the industry to help them out if they're in a pickle. They just can't do it. And I see so many horror stories on Facebook Marketplace. Oh, my DJ's let me down a week before my wedding. Why? I could not live with it. I would have a sleepless night knowing that I've got a wedding tomorrow and I've got no DJ to turn up to there. It just wouldn't happen. Your wedding is the most important day of your life, if not one of them. And it's important that there is backup or, procedures in place if that was to happen. And I'll give you an example. Actually, last year, one of my main DJs, he fell down the stairs an hour before he was going to leave to go to an event with his daughter, and he broke his leg. And obviously the panic, I got the phone call, he said, "Oh, Ross, I'm really sorry, I've just fallen down the stairs with my daughter, I need to go to A&E. And obviously the panic come into my head and I thought, what am I going to do? So I got on the phone and got on the WhatsApp group of all of our DJs and got it covered within 10 minutes. And that stress was over and they'd done an absolutely brilliant job. So make sure that you've got backup in place. Now, when it comes to equipment, you know, you're not to know what is good equipment, what is bad equipment. There is some dodgy old stuff out there. You know, Maplin's doesn't exist anymore, but that was what we called the dodgy old Maplin's DJ setup. But there is still some equipment out there which is just not reliable enough, and it doesn't do the job. The sound quality is terrible. Make sure that their setup looks nice. You know, they're using a good brand of a sound system, so there's some really high quality sound systems out there, because, you know, if you're doing your speeches, you want to make sure that you're heard and it's not muffled and feedbacking all throughout the room. So that's another important key. Also, make sure that your DJ will play to the crowd. They will take requests, and most importantly, play some of the tracks which you like. Now, don't give them an 8-page playlist. Give them a few tracks, you know, 30 or 40 songs of must-plays, do-not-plays, play-if-possibles and dedications, and they'll hopefully cater for your needs, and most importantly, all of your guests as well. So they are some of the crucial things that you need to make sure that your DJ has in place before you book them, and make sure that they will coincide with your venue rules as well, because I'll give you another example. Some wedding venues, and we do quite a lot of them now, will only allow you to use the in-house sound system, because it may be a special sound system which is called a ceiling array. So it's speakers which are mounted to the ceiling and they point downwards, which, you know, stops complaints from the neighbours, and they will only allow a DJ to plug into that system. Now, some DJs don't like it because it's limited and it's not loud enough, and they're not used to it. They don't know what connections to take, and that is something that we're used to and we do a lot, but just make sure that they are happy to do that and they've worked with that kind of system beforehand. Another thing to take into consideration is sound limiters. Many venues have those, and I'm going to be doing a separate video about that actually on sound limiters. Because it's such a common thing now, but again, it's something you need to discuss with your DJ. Make sure that they're aware that there is a sound limiter at your venue and they're happy to work within the limits which it's set to, which 9 times out of 10 is about 90 decibels, which is plenty enough to have a good evening. So take into consideration some of those things you need to be looking out for before you book your wedding DJ.